Mornings with Mayesh. Thank you for joining us, and happy almost Thanksgiving, guys. We are going to get started in just a couple of minutes, and I just wanted to give everyone a chance to come on in. And while you're doing that, just in case you don't know, my name is Yvonne Ashton, and I am the marketing director here at Mayesh. I am going to have Rachael on, Rachael Lunghi of Siren Floral Co. Guys, I'm so excited, and she's going to be answering all of your flower questions. We got a ton of questions in, so I'm hoping we can get her on for round two. We'll see how she likes the show, and that way we can answer. Literally, there was a bazillion questions that were sent in between her story and our story and email. So super excited about all of that. While you're coming in, of course, say good morning. Let us know where you are from, and I love it. Peonies and Petals Design is here. I have Penny, Huntress Florals, Carol Ann. Good morning, guys. So excited, guys. All right. Keep on coming in. Say good morning as we're talking. And if we have time, go ahead and definitely post your questions below in the comments, and we will go over them if we have the time. Sound good? Also, while everyone is coming in, I see more and more people. Yay. Keep it coming, guys. I just wanted to let you know about some new and exciting things going on in Mayesh. They're not super brand new because I've been talking about it for a while, but I'm hoping we have some new people here. And so it's going to be new to all of our new people. So we have, and speaking of new, brand new website. It was launched, mayesh.com, and totally new shopping experience, brand new user experience. Very excited about this. We have an updated flower library, updated Mayesh Market, which is our Mayesh Direct box lots. So just a new interface. So it looks and feels just like some of the other websites, some of your favorite websites that you use, and not like an old flower website. And then we also added a brand new product planner to help calculate the number of stems you need for an event. And then you can send in quotes and things like that. So super cool. Love it. We have so many other tools that we're planning, and they're already being worked on to be launched. And just want to make your flower buying experience as easy and painless as possible. So check it out, of course, after the show. The other thing I wanted to make sure that you guys know about is in April of 2020, we are heading to the Netherlands for our second International Mayesh experience. It's going to be the experience, guys. Quito was amazing, and I can't wait to do it again over in the Netherlands. This time we're having Sue and Hanneke, two amazing, amazing designers, super passionate. Sue McCleary, of course, is from the US, Passion Flower Sue, and a lot of you may know her already. And then Hanneke is a Dutch designer and award-winning and does lots of really cool European design stuff. So, and of course, we're going to be doing lots of Netherlands things and visiting the auction and growers and just having fun. So check it out. I will post the links in the comments. And let's see. I'm using they updated this. Be Live is what I use to do the show, and they updated it. So hopefully I do okay. Let's see. Who else is here? Hi, Sharon, Kylie, Tracy. I see, who else? Deb. She's from Ontario, I believe. Guys, we're up from all over. I love it. California to Florida to Canada. Sometimes we have some other crazy countries. All right. And one last thing, guys, if you want to keep updated with everything that is Mayesh related and what we're doing and all the fun, cool, exciting things we do, be sure to subscribe. I posted the link in the comments below. All right, guys. So we are going to get started. And for everyone that is here, we're going to kind of just start from the top. Sound good? All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Yvonne Ashton, and welcome to our Mornings with Mayesh show. Today, I have Rachael Lunghi of Siren Floral Company, and she's going to be here helping me answer your flower questions, and we're going to get to know each other. Rachael is a Southern California designer who inspires so many across the country. I'm so honored to have her on the show, and here she is. Welcome, Rachael. Oh, and now I muted you. Here we go.
Oh,
There we go. I could hear you when I had you in the green room.
oh, just
So
you. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Hey,
yeah. Welcome,
everybody.
Rachel. How are
How's it
you?
going? I'm good. I'm really excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to have you on the show. It's amazing. And you are such really an inspiration to so many designers across the country. And for those that already know you, I know they're all excited to watch the show. And then I'm just excited for people who may not know of you to get to know you because you're just a cool flower chick.
Thanks. That's really nice.
Yeah. So before we get started with all the questions that the viewers sent in, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your flower story?
Yeah, okay. So, gosh, I want to say it's been about 8 years now that I've been designing. I started out in the event industry, but I actually started out wedding planning. Um, and then slowly transitioned into floral just because I had a lot of clients asking me to help them with that. And then, of course, florals like totally encapsulated me, and I left the planning to the wayside and was like, I just want to do one thing instead of juggling like all of these vendors and doing flowers. And it just got really crazy. So I decided to kind of hone my focus, and then started Siren kind of in the midst of that transition. And yeah, now here we are. That's
That's
kind of
very
it.
cool. You've worked
Yeah.
with a bunch of big brands. Can you tell me a little bit about some of the favorite things that you've done?
Big brands, like which ones?
Well, I know like you have a watch commercial when you Google your name.
Oh, a Nixon.
Nixon. Yes,
Yeah, that's
I
so
love that.
funny. Yeah, that was when I was first starting. And yeah, I used to live in North County, Encinitas area in San Diego. So we just had like a bunch of connections, and they, found out about me through that connection. And they were like, hey, we're wanting to do this cool like makers thing. Could you be a part of it? So they came to my house and filmed this whole thing. And I was like, sure, yeah, this is really cool. And then I've done a couple like other random things. Like I work with Cleabella quite a bit. They're like a women's clothing brand, and I've
Mhm.
helped them several times on shoots. Um, and I also did a campaign for Wife Eyewear. They do like sunglasses, and
Very cool.
they're awesome. So that was just like they again like just all connection stuff. It was just they reached
Yeah.
out, and I was like, sure, yeah, I'll do that.
Very cool. All
Yeah.
right, so we have so many questions, so we're gonna hop right
Yeah.
into it.
Yeah.
A
People
bunch of
send in
questions.
really good ones.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Very
Yeah.
good. So first few are from Instagram, from our story. So we're gonna start with what's the secret to designing lush bouquets with little greenery and dried products?
Okay, that's a really good one. Man. Yeah. Okay. So here's how we do it.
Okay, and whisper because it's a secret.
Okay. Okay. Top secret.
Yeah.
So basically what I try to do, or like kind of implement in my process, is I'll incorporate greens that are more floral or vice versa. So instead of using a ton of greenery to build the base of my bouquet, then I will just, pick something like lilac or like a blooming oregano or something like that could be used as a filler or a foliage, but I use it as my green, if that makes sense, in the bouquet. So I think
Yeah.
that really helps, and makes it feel really full and lush and floral instead of like so greenery heavy. um, and then as far as the drieds go, like I always start with a pretty small base too for either way, like whether I'm using, greenery foliage or floral foliage, or drieds. I start very small with like the amount that I use, knowing that I can always pop more in later. And then really build my depth with floral product.
Great. I think
Yeah.
that's perfect.
Yeah.
And our next question is how much local product do you use versus wholesale? Right.
Yeah, man, that it totally varies. I think,
Mhm.
seasonally, based on what's available. Because,
Right.
even right now, like for winter, a lot of stuff isn't going to be as local. But luckily, I live in Southern California and we have a ton of local product, and a ton of flower farms. And, so I feel really lucky that I can use and source locally like most of the year.
Right.
Um, but I'd say it's like, if I had to give it like a ratio, it'd probably be like half and half.
Yeah.
Yeah, like a 50-50 ratio. But I really try to pull locally, especially when the product's like amazing. And our local Mayesh gets like really incredible local product from, small farms around the San Diego area. So we just have a huge resource here and I feel really lucky for that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. Yeah, we love our local growers all across the country. We try really hard to just kind of find those niche people and sometimes they find us. It's a little combination of both. But yeah, we just think that's so important.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so what is your best advice for a brand new floral designer needing some guidance to being intentional with design? It's a big question.
That is a big question. Well, and a very intentional one too.
Yeah,
I would say I think it's really important to kind of like hone in your aesthetic and sort of find yourself in your design. I think it's really easy to sort of like repeat what you've seen or, things like that. And we're all inspired by each other. So that's totally okay. Like glean inspiration from all over. Um, but I think it's like, it's going to sound so cheesy, but I think there's like a huge element of listening to your heart and really pulling product that you're drawn to that you want to try to use, and like challenging yourself. Like throughout my whole kind of floral career, I've really tried to focus on the concept of being intentional and being in competition with me, like not worrying about anyone else and supporting and encouraging other people, but being in competition with myself. Like, okay, I did this and now I want to try this. And that also helps keep me inspired.
right,
So I would say just like, I don't know, find things that you're drawn to and start practicing with them and try things that you haven't seen before, or, try a new flower color combination or anything like that. And then the more you do that, I think the more you exercise that kind of intentional muscle and listening to your heart, and the more easy it becomes to just like choose things at the market or when you're ordering that feel like you, if that makes sense.
no, I think that totally makes sense. I love that. And I love how, it's being inspired by others, but still focusing on you and what you're drawn to. I think that's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it helps for sure. Yeah, because we're all going to glean inspiration from each other. There's like so many incredible florists out there. It's bound to happen. But I think if you can like take a piece of that and then like run with it and do it and make it your own, that's kind
Mhm.
of a key factor.
Yeah. Yeah. For sure. Okay, so what's the best way to get inexpensive flowers for a wedding? Like DIY stuff.
Oh, Trader Joe's, like hands down.
Yeah.
Hopefully you have one near you. But Trader Joe's is the best. The best. It's like the key secret, if there is a secret. I feel like everyone knows now about Trader Joe's and like
Yeah.
peony season. Like you can get peonies at Trader Joe's for like $5.99, $6.99, and you can get like 5 stems there for that. It's crazy. I don't know how they do it.
I don't know how they do it either. I've actually bought peonies from there before too.
Oh
So
my gosh,
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
incredible. I know, don't tell.
Don't tell.
Yeah, yeah. I would say if you can raid a Trader Joe's and just try, and I'd also say like, depending on where you live, like there's so much product that's just out and about. If you feel comfortable foraging, I would suggest doing it in like a meadow or like somewhere open, never on someone's property, obviously.
Right.
But yeah, if you can find stuff that you can just pull and cut, to try and play with, I feel like that's always really inspiring too. So maybe it's a combo, like you go to Trader Joe's and you get kind of your focal flowers, and then you go cut some stuff foliage wise or whatever else you wanna try and play with.
Yeah. Great advice to do things inexpensively.
Yeah.
All right. So these next couple of questions are from Stevie. She says, "This is so exciting. Rachel's one of my favorites. Here are a couple of questions I have." So her first one is, have you ever struggled with creative burnout? And if so, how do you rejuvenate? I love that question.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I was just feeling that way. So her timing of her question is perfect. Yeah, I think for me, whenever I am getting to that place, I almost try to force myself to just make something for me.
Yeah.
So whether that's like I go maybe earlier into the studio on a Monday or Tuesday before in between events even. I might pull whatever's extra from the previous event, or even get a couple things at Mayesh that morning and just try to make something just for me to kind of reignite that and not fall deep into the burnout hole, because it can be like really exhausting. And then you, especially when you're working with clients a lot and they have a very specific vision and you don't always get to do like kind of your creative way of doing things. You're obviously trying to make the client happy, so you have to kind of feed that creative fire as well. So I think if you can take a minute, and it's almost like a meditation, and you just
Yeah.
make something for you and do it slowly, put on a good song, like whatever gets you in the right headspace, to feel really good about being creative and knowing that this is something you love, and just remind you of that when it feels really hectic. I think that would be my biggest advice. And also just like, doing shoots. I think shoots is a really awesome way to keep yourself inspired, because you kind of get the creative control and you're working with other creatives, and
Right.
you can try a concept that you're really excited about. And I also think when you do shoots, it then pushes your clientele to look at things differently.
Hmm.
So for me, shoots are like my biggest way to be like, I can do this too. And then I think more and more clients will like come to you and say like, I want this. This was really cool that you did. And then they kind of want to create something similar. So you're almost, inspiring the client as well. It's like one inspiration to the next, which is pretty neat. So I'd say, yeah, shoots and just creative time just for you.
Very good. I love it. My puppy is barking. Sorry about that. All right. He always has to make his way into every show that I do.
He's just letting us know he's there.
Yes, he's here. I'm surprised he hasn't busted through the door yet. He likes to do that. All right. So, how do you source flowers from multiple suppliers for each wedding that you do?
How do I source from multiple suppliers? Was that it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So,
Or do you source?
oh, do I? Do
Yes.
I?
Mhm.
Yeah, yes, totally. So, I mean, like I mentioned earlier, there's a bunch of local farms here. Like, I use Rose Story Farm a lot, and I love Ella Rose Farm. So a lot of times I'm kind of comboing, I'd say most of my order from Mayesh, and then we have a few other like smaller wholesalers at our markets because we actually have two. So I'll pull things from them, just like specialty things. But I'd say most of the time, the majority of my order is going to Mayesh ahead of time, and then I'll order like the roses from a rose farm and maybe a few other particular items from some of the other wholesalers. So they're definitely like using multiple. Um, and yeah, I think everyone has like kind of different stuff. So it helps to shop around a little bit, and then you can get more kind of special things at different places that maybe not everyone has. And you really want to make the client happy and the arrangement special, then definitely mix it up.
Yeah, it's good advice. Although we of course want all as much as everyone will want to give us.
Yeah.
No, but I think that's great. Okay, I love this question from Stevie. They want to know, what is your dream event?
My dream event. I guess I saw that question yesterday, and my instant reaction was like one where I get to do whatever I want.
Yeah, exactly. What
Yeah,
is
like
that?
I know. So I would say like not whatever I want, of course. It's about the client and making them happy. It's their wedding day. Like it's so special. So I think it's more, I'd say more like one where they really trust me. It doesn't even have to be like a dream event. I mean, obviously one with like a ton of installs, a ton of floral, like would be so exciting. Um, but I would just say one where they kind of give me a palette or like a couple ideas and then just trust me to execute and run with it. That would be, I guess it's more like my dream client
Right.
than anything else. But I have had clients like that and it is the best because they just, there's such fluidity to like what you can create. Like you have the freedom. So that's such a gift, and I really think that would be the dream scenario, and maybe like large scale, like doing a ton of floral, a ton of installs, like maybe like a huge tent situation, like I don't know, just anything where I kind of get to go ham on
Yeah.
flowering. Yeah.
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 Do you have like a dream color palette that you would want to do
Oh
if you got
gosh.
to choose?
I would really love to do one that's very like sort of Dutch Masters inspired, so really colorful. And
Right.
I think those palettes are always really challenging because they're not as almost like linear. I don't even know how to say it. Like there's such interest in their compositions. Like the colors are all over the place. There's like fruit. There's who even knows what else they throw into those vases in the old paintings. Like I actually
Right.
have one up here that's like inspired by Dutch Masters that I got at a flea market. So I don't know, something along those lines, like a whole wedding of that would be so cool. And I think a really cool challenge as far as like color use and just dimension and product choices, like everything. It would be so cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. That would be amazing. All right, guys, let's find that client. Yeah.
We'll all pool and do it together. Everyone that's
Yeah,
watching.
exactly. That would be amazing. I love it. Okay, our next question is from Alexandra. She asks about your ordering process. Like, what is that like? See, he's coming in. And so I know you talked a little bit about that, but maybe you can expand on it. And then she asks, do you have a typical floral recipe that you follow? What style and mechanics do you typically use when making arrangements? So a whole bunch of questions from Alexandra.
Okay, so ordering process was the first one.
Yes. What is your ordering process like?
Yeah. So I have had to like I really am a I like to self-learn. I'm like very self-taught. So I tend to like learn things the hard way by doing it maybe wrong the first time
Right.
or just like not necessarily wrong, just like learning along the way. So I really had to hone in that system for ordering. And it took me a while because I was self-taught. So I never like worked in a shop or anything like that. I didn't have like systems that were shown to me. So I kind of, made mine up along the way. But
Mhm.
I really like it now. It seems to be working. It's just we typically order everything at least a month ahead of time. We try to, and we have like you know, elements in our contract that require clients to get us like final details as soon as possible, so we can do that. Because I know that's easier for our Mayesh reps as well. So that really helps to get it in that early. And usually what I'm doing is I'm going through my proposal and I do all my proposals in Google Docs, and I have a template that my designer made for me. So I use that, and then it allows you to write notes. So I'll just like highlight the different elements of the wedding, and then I'll go through on the sidebar and kind of jot comments down to myself when I'm planning to order. And usually I have a good idea when I'm booking the client what I want to use. So then it's just sort of like implementing those things in a recipe form. So I'll highlight the item, and then in the sidebar, I'll jot those notes down. Like I want 7 of this or 6 of this, or, whatever it is that I'm using. And then I take that and I put it into a Google Sheet order form that I've created. And then I send that to my Mayesh rep with my inspiration board, because I feel like it's really helpful to give them something visual to go off of. And my
Yeah.
rep's awesome. Her name's Val. Love her. Shout out if you're watching.
Hi, Val.
Hi, Val. And she'll pull things then. She'll pull extra. Like if she sees something come in that she thinks goes along with the palette, or just the general inspiration, she'll pull stuff. And then I might go on like a Monday morning when I have an event that week, and I'll check out what she's pulled, and I might pull more. And I always try to leave myself some wiggle room. I'm not like super strict with my ordering process. I like to leave myself like a chunk to kind of play with. So I also asked Val to send me, like a pre-book, which will tell me kind of what it's going to end up looking like with what the price points are coming in at right now, when I send her. And of course, those fluctuate sometimes with certain things like roses. But it helps me to then gauge like, okay, I'm going to have a little bit left at the end, so I can like pull fun things that just come in that week, and kind of like tie that into my overall recipe plan.
Very good.
Yeah.
So Google Docs and Google Sheets. Have you ever considered using like a kind of app system that's out there?
I'm open to it. I'm just not, like, honestly, I'm kind of a granny. Like, even this, this morning, I was like, wait, Dave, do we have the right headset for my computer? Like, it helps me with my technology skills. But yeah, totally. I am open to it. I've tried things like, I tried HoneyBook. That wasn't necessarily for ordering, but different systems for like proposals and things like that. And just really like the way that I've had it going as far as like my proposals and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I'm totally open. I know the Mayesh website just launched and like has that tool, right?
Yeah, we have a product planner now. It's in its infancy. It's kind of like very basic. So we have a lot of plans to kind of make it better. But yeah, you can, we don't have like the ability to kind of it saves obviously, but I feel like it needs to be a little bit more where people can like reuse things and reference it. But yeah, we have a very basic tool. You want to check it out. Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I totally do. I need to. I get the newsletter, so I saw about it and I was like, whoa, that's going to be so neat.
Yeah.
And I was going to go in and like talk to Val about it and be like, hey, can you walk me through this? Because this is not my gift, technology, but I want it to be.
Yeah. And then I was just at Flourish by Curate. It's a conference. It was like a business conference. I did a little talk about marketing and sales funnels, very techy and nerdy, geeky, but it was fun. And but Curate is a really cool app too. So I don't know, for people that are wondering about ordering process and kind of calculating stems and being able to use that in proposals and have kind of forms that you can put on your website and feed into that system. It's kind of a cool thing to check out. So
that's awesome. Yeah, because it is so hard. Like you really do have to think about it on the front end when you're booking the client, because you need to know like if you're charging right, especially like for me, I'm, currently bidding out a wedding that is going to use a ton of lilac. And so I was like, thank goodness this isn't lilac season. And thank goodness, like, they were like, we really want lilac. And I was like, well, you chose right for the right month. So good job, first things first. But secondly, like, okay, I'm going to be able to get local lilac, so I can charge this and it will be this, I also think like one of my biggest, I can't believe I haven't done this yet, but one of my biggest things for this year that we're going to be working on is just like for us, is just like logging, our favorites and what the price points kind of hang out around depending on the season, so that we can kind of like, we have like, this is exactly how much this costs. And usually I know most of them, like my favorites. So it's just in my head. But we really want to like start, it's like one of the tasks for my office gals, like we're going to start really logging it in our off time and try to like prep for that, because you really need to know, or you need to use these systems that you're starting to provide, because you need to charge right like that. It's so hard as it is to make money in this job, and you really have to like watch your nickels and your dimes so that you can make a profit and be successful.
Yeah, and I love what you said too about logging kind of that knowledge that's in your head, because I think to be able to scale your business and to be able to grow, you have to hire people. And the only way to get that information out to them really in an efficient manner is to be able to have it kind of documented for people to
Totally.
learn. Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
tell them and all of that, which is great, but yeah, having it documented and kind of building your business on paper, I think is important.
Yeah, absolutely.
Very good. So Alexandra also asked, do you follow a typical floral recipe when you're doing your wedding and events?
Yeah, I'd say generally I do. I also, like I said, will leave that kind of wiggle room,
Right,
because I think that's also another way that I avoid burnout and try to stay creative. Like I
right,
just want to go sometimes and see what's there because there's so many cool things that you guys get in maybe just for the week, and there's only like 5 bunches, and
yeah,
to kind of like snatch at least one up for the bridal bouquet or whatever. I definitely want to leave room for that. So I do. I basically make a recipe on the things that I know I need and want for color or otherwise if the client requested it. And then like I'll leave myself creative wiggle room.
right. No, I
Yeah.
think that's great. Real quick, so someone that's watching says, Susan says, my Mayesh rep suggested printing off weekly price sheets they send out, and then you can go back and look at those. So I think
Oh,
that's a good.
that's
You can print them
amazing.
off or
Yeah.
save it, however you want to do. So thank
Thanks,
you for sharing,
Susan.
Susan. And then, okay, let's see. Alexandra's last question. What style mechanic do you typically use when making an arrangement? Do you have a typical mechanic?
Yeah, it really varies. I think
Hmm.
a lot of my events are travel, so sometimes it's hard to do like the frog combo,
Right.
just because the frog like chicken wire combo or like a double. Sometimes I'll do like a double chicken wire, just because of like the sloshing and the spillage. So it really just depends. But those like I'd say chicken wire and then a chicken wire and frog would be like my go-to. It just depends where the wedding is.
Right.
Otherwise, unfortunately it has to be foam sometimes.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Good, good. All right. So we're moving on to Dana's questions that she submitted. Thank you, Dana. And thank you, Alexandra and Stevie and everyone else that we've had questions from so far.
Yes.
Okay. So Dana wants to know, in regards to hiring on help, do you do that under the table or as a temp position?
Okay. Yeah. That is well. So I have all my gals are 1099, which I know recently in California, at least, some of the laws have changed regarding that.
Yeah.
So we're exploring new ways to kind of manage that in 2020. But that's what we've been doing. So it's not necessarily under the table. Like we 1099 all of our girls at the end of the
Hmm.
year. And then we also have like freelance contract. So it's more like a policies and procedure document. So they kind of know what our expectations are of them. And then we list like their pay rate and how we handle like things like they're going to travel to the event. So is gas mileage covered? And do I cover their stay? And like, all that kind of stuff is listed very clearly in the contract when we hire new people on, but they're freelance. So they are kind of temp. Um,
Right.
yeah, they're more temp than under the table for sure.
Right. Right. Yeah. You
Mhm.
you do everything on the up and up.
Yes.
Okay. Dina's next question is, how do you feel your design style has transformed since your career as a florist has started?
um, wow. I mean, so much. It's changed so much. I think largely I would say it's it's just sort of developed into it's like developed along with sort of how my personality and my own personal growth has shifted. So when I was learning, it was kind of like really wild. And this is like my early 20s, like really wild, really messy, which was definitely my spirit at the time. And
Right.
I was going through a lot. And I think that my work really reflected that. And I was learning so much of how to do it. Like I really just was self taught, like I said. So it was definitely like specific to where I was at then. And then now, like I'm in this kind of new season of my 30s where I'm just a different person, and I think that my work reflects that more. Like I'd say overall, though, I've always wanted it to kind of be like um, very thoughtful and like composed,
Mm-hmm.
but with like a little something interesting, like a little texture that you don't expect, or like something that feels kind of a little bit out there, if that makes sense, without necessarily being like too boho or too, like nothing
Mm-hmm.
like that necessarily, just like an interesting texture or like some kind of pop of something. Just something that almost brings like this draw and like a element of surprise. And the whole reason I named it Siren was because I loved the idea that, like, obviously the sirens that were drawing the sailors in and injuring them was not my goal, but I love the idea of a siren, the concept of a siren, like sort of drawing you in.
Yeah.
And that's how I feel about flowers. So that's kind of why I named it that. Like they kind of draw you in, and there's like an element of surprise, and they're really beautiful and striking and all of that. So I hope that that's always been shown, but it's definitely just, it's transitioned so much. It's become more minimalistic. I use less ingredients, and I try to be really thoughtful in the ingredients, so that each color counts and each flower has like its moment in the sun. Like I
Mm-hmm.
really
Yeah.
want everything to feel very thoughtful and intentional, and also minimal. Like my life has just gotten much more simple, and we are pretty minimal as humans, my boyfriend and I. So it's like I think that my work now reflects that more. Um, but yeah, I think it's just transitioning, and who knows, like it could take me to a whole another direction in the next, decade. Who knows? So
Yeah.
we'll see.
So if you had to name your design style, what would you say that it is?
Oh gosh. I think that it is organic with like a
Mhm.
little bit of a modern twist or element to it, because things are kind of like pared back and more like floral focused.
Right.
And then there's just like textural, I would say.
Mhm.
But I don't even know. I mean, what would you say?
I'm not sure.
I don't know. Maybe everyone watching has an idea. I
Uh,
don't even know what to call it. Like definitely organic, open, kind of wild, but I really just want it to feel natural overall. Um and then like interesting. It's more about how it feels, I guess. But
yeah.
yeah.
No. I love it. I love it. Here, hold on. Let me see. I want to put this up. Mom and Me Events in Oklahoma says, I feel my design style reflects my personality in a lot of ways, has been working for my business. However, I find that this messy style is becoming more of a desire for wedding clients. Hard to dial in on that. Any tips? And that just kind of, yeah, I like how you're saying your design style is more of like how it makes you feel. I think
Mhm.
that's a cool way of going about it. But I like this question. Any tips for mom and me events and dialing it in?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I'd love to ask Mom and Me, what do you think about like the messy style? Like what would you characterize as the messy style? Is it more like the more organic, like free flowing, or are you talking about messy, like lots and lots of texture, lots and lots of dried stuff? Like which messy are we talking about? And
Right,
messy isn't like a negative term. It sounds, I know what you mean. I'm just trying to gauge like which one,
right.
um,
That's
if you can share. But I would say like, I don't know. I think it's still really important to be true to yourself.
mhm,
Like there are things that I've kind of decided like I don't personally want to, like materials I don't personally want to work with anymore, if I have in the past, or like just it's maybe not my jam. And that's me choosing to be true to myself. And I think the more you put out like what you do and what is your creative, shtick, the more clients you'll get like that. So I would just say like if you kind of make those decisions for yourself and then ask yourself like who your client is, like who do you want to draw in? Because you can like just kind of keep going with like the trends, and do what the client's asking you to do, even if you think it's maybe not what you really want to put out there, that's okay. You could still do it. I mean, we all have to make money. Like, it's okay to still just
Right.
do it. And then you could just, maybe you don't post it. Maybe it's not on your website. Maybe it's just one to kind of like pay the bills, which is okay. There's nothing
Mhm.
wrong with that. But I would suggest, like, if you do decide to do a project like that that maybe doesn't feel really truly like you, then I wouldn't put it anywhere, because then that's kind of confusing your brand. So I think it's really important to know yourself and know your brand and know the clients that you want to get, and put out work visually, like, out there in the universe, that's going to bring more of it back to you, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I love it. I love it, love it. In regards to you talking about your style, Penny just says, "It's very Rachel." I mean, you can just name it after yourself. I think that's a great idea, Penny. Thank you.
Penny, that's so sweet. I like don't even know what that means. I don't know, but I'll take it. I like it. Thanks,
It's the
Penny.
Rachel style.
That's so sweet. Oh my gosh, yeah. I don't even know what to call it half the time. So thanks, Penny. We're gonna
Yeah.
call it that.
Yes, I love it. And then, I believe her name is also Rachel, just spelled a little differently.
Oh yeah, cool.
She says, "Absolutely in love with the reason behind your business name. Perfect fit for you and your style."
Thank you. That's so
I love
nice.
it. I
Yeah,
love
I
it.
thought long and hard about that name, so I'm glad you like it. Thank you.
And before we get to the last couple of questions, we have some time, I think, to do some of these. All right. So
Yeah.
Peonies and Petals Design says, when I go to the Mayesh market in LA, many blossoms or greens with berries are already bought. I don't know the names of them, but they are never available for me to purchase, which is really annoying. How do I go about knowing what foliages to order when I don't even know the names or what is in season? I asked my rep at Mish, and he didn't have the answer to that. I'm sorry,
Oh no.
peonies and petals.
Oh my gosh. Oh no.
Do you have any
Yeah.
advice for her, though?
Totally. I think my suggestion would be to try to build a relationship with your rep, and maybe you've already like gone down that road, but I think for me, like, my rep before I had Valerie, was her name was Shelly, and she and I were like super tight and would talk a lot of times about design, and so she really knew my aesthetic, and we just really like clicked. So a lot of times there would be, like, text conversations Monday morning, like, hey, what's coming in that's really cool this week? And she would share that with me. And of course, they still have to disperse the product to everyone fairly. So it's not like I was like hoarding at all. It was
Right.
just like a conversation where we could then talk about new things coming in that I had never seen before. So I think, if possible, I would try to really build that relationship with your rep, or, like, even get cool books, like, cool floral books. You could look into getting some old ones even. I actually have my computer, so it was like level. I have it like stacked on a bunch of these old ones that
Right.
my neighbor gave me. And I was like, these are so cool, because there's things in there that you might not have seen at the market, or no one's seen in a really long time for whatever reason, because people stopped ordering it. And you could even tell your rep about it. They can talk to the person who does the ordering, see if they can get it. And then you have something outstanding, that you've ordered. And that's really exciting. But I also think, did she say she's in LA? Man,
Yeah.
that one's really competitive. It really is. I've been to that market before, and it can
Yeah.
be really tough.
It's a little hectic there, I think, maybe, and
Yeah.
maybe that's why. And so, I think maybe just trying to find maybe the person that you're talking to might not have the answers, but someone there does. Someone's ordered that product. So, I know Brian Foster, he's over there, and Aaron is the manager. So maybe just trying to like seek them out. I know there's some other people that have been there for a very long time, and just, asking, like, when you see something like, hey, what is that? And can I put in an order if it's already bought and it's, just sitting there waiting for people to pick up, maybe just talking to them about that and how we can do it. And then I know, again, all of our branches are kind of all in different pockets and carry different things, just based on what's around. But, we have Instagram and people are posting things all the time. So like our Mayesh Instagram, we have our flower library, which has a lot of things. We're trying to work on getting more and more pictures, but you guys have no idea. It's crazy. It's a crazy project. Get the pictures of everything that we sell. We're working on it. So definitely, check out the flower library and see if that helps.
Yeah. And then just like over communication, like I feel like the more you can kind of say like, hey, I'd really like to order this, and be like as direct as possible while still being kind, and be like, hey, I really want to get these berries. What do I need to do to make sure I get these berries, or whatever it is you're looking for? And also like shop around, like there's so many vendors at the market in LA too, just see if maybe they have it. Or I would also suggest, like I do this almost every week. I have an event. I go early Monday morning. I'm not sure what the hours are at the LA market, but I go early Monday morning when they're getting new stuff, and I will like peek at it and check it out and see if there's anything I can use for my events. And I can't see it until it comes out on the floor, but at least I'm there, and then I can be like, I would like to save these things. And it just helps. Like I think it's a huge exercise in just being diligent and kind of seeking out the product that you really want as best you can.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think just getting to know product takes time. Like if you are newer, it just takes time to like get to know everything and learn the seasons. It's just, there's thousands and thousands of products. So we're in a complicated business.
Yeah, it's a process. And then there's things that come into the market that like I've never seen ever in my life, and my rep has never seen. And we're both like, what is this?
Yes.
And I really like what Dana said. I take pictures of things when I see them, and I make notes. I do that all the time. I take photos of things if I see it, even if it's not for my palette that week. And then I'll ask Val, like, what is this and how much does it cost? And, start to like kind of log that in my brain so I remember that I want to order it again. And that could be at any market you go to. Like you could travel and go to another market and see something really cool and find out, if you can get it with your rep at Mayesh down the line. So
very good.
Yeah, just keep practicing. You can do it and communicate.
Yes. Yeah. Love it. Okay. So Rachael would like Rachael to talk a little bit about your process for getting so much depth in all of your masterpieces.
Whoa, that's really nice. Masterpiece. I don't know about that. Depth. I feel like that, thank you. That's really kind, because I feel like depth is always my goal when I'm designing. So I would say a lot of times what I do is I kind of start really deep. So if I'm in the process of making an arrangement, I will pop things in really low. And even when I teach my classes, I talk about this often when I'm teaching like centerpiece class or even bouquets. So I start things in like really deep, and I kind of build this like center of depth, if you will. And then I build outward. And as I build outward, things get lighter and airier. So that would be like, my kind of third tier flowers, or the big flyaway moments on the outside. And maybe my chunkier ones are really like bringing home the depth in the middle. Or, maybe there's the depth in the middle is like layered greenery on one side without a ton of floral there. So there's this kind of break for your eye in that negative space. So I would say like just starting really low and then building like outward and lighter is the best way I can describe it.
Very good. Help? Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Rachael, did that help? I think so. She said yes. All right, let's see. Aaron wants to know, hey girls, hey. She says, do you have a floral trademark that you put in every design so everyone knows it's you?
Oh, that's a fun question. I
Yeah.
I don't. I don't. There's not like one thing that I use in every one. I mean, I use Majolicas a lot.
Yeah.
I can find a way to put Majolicas in like almost every recipe, I swear. I love those spray roses so much. But no, I don't think there's one thing. I would say like if it was anything, it would be like a little surprise, like a little something interesting or like a texture or like
Mhm.
a flower that you wouldn't expect or, just anything
Yeah,
like that. But it's not like a one bloom or one type of green or anything like that. Yeah, it's usually texture related.
very good.
Yeah. I know we
Let's
had a couple other like long comments there on the side.
yeah, I'm just gonna read it because otherwise I'm gonna be sitting here for a while trying to figure out what to say. Okay, so Mom and Me Events, Oklahoma. I often hear my colleagues say, "Oh, I knew that was your wedding," without even reading who designed it. I guess for me, I would like to take on a new outside of the box look to appeal to another style of client to stay in the game. Oh, this is going back to her thing before. Messy
Before.
style to me is not round, not cascading, not structured, just that free flowing look. I agree. I have always stayed with clients that want my style. I think I just might be ready for a new challenge. Thanks for the reassurance.
Yeah, you can do it. I would
Yeah.
just say just try it. Like, even if you're kind of unsure of which direction to go in, there's so many online courses
Mhm.
or workshops that Mash puts on or other workshops that florists put on, and you can go and really challenge yourself or even just start to kind of practice in your own time if you want to go in that direction. And I think the biggest tip there, if you want to kind of get away from it feeling really composed, is to like use more greens to kind of like lighten it up and bring movement, out to the sides and maybe try things. I always call it upside down, but like it's when things go this way when you would
Right.
normally go that way. And I think that really helps too because there's more fluidity in that. So if you want to go
Mhm.
in that direction, then you should. Like totally. That's so fun that you want to challenge yourself and try something new. I feel like that's how you stay excited in this industry and keep going and keep your like creative fire burning. So
I
definitely do
agree.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even for like my kind of job, I always love doing something new and learning something new because that's what makes it exciting. And I want to keep
Yeah.
on doing the same things and, not learning anything. It's
Yeah.
not fun then.
Always learning.
Yeah. This is just fun. Hey girl, what's your sign?
I saw that one and I
Yeah.
giggled to myself. I am an Aquarius. I'm a
Aquarius.
water child.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's me,
Do you fit the characteristics for your sign?
I don't know. I think sometimes I Aquarius are also like get a really bad rap for being like aloof, and
Mhm.
I feel personally offended by that. 'Cause I don't think that I'm aloof, but no, I think it in some ways for sure. Like super passionate, definitely like drawn to something creative. Like just the idea of like social justice is like really important to me and how you treat other people and I don't know. We could look it up. We could look up a
Yeah.
description of the sign and I could tell you.
No, it's all good.
But I do think in some aspects for sure.
Yeah. I'm a
Yeah.
Taurus and I'm like a true Taurus.
Are
So,
you?
yeah, for sure. I'm a bull.
I get along with Taurus. Taurus and
Yeah.
Aquarius are buds.
Yeah. I can
Yeah.
see that. I
Yeah.
feel that.
Me too.
Okay. So you got a whole bunch of questions on your Instagram story, and I'm gonna pick a
Yeah.
few of them. They came in late last night. So let's see. The first one, were you born a goddess or did you gradually evolve into the ethereal floral whisperer that you are? I first of all, I like loved that, so I had to say that out
Oh my
loud
gosh,
on
the
live.
wording.
Yeah, love it.
That is from Nancy. She's a planner that I work with a lot. She's so sweet. Her company is so happy together, and she does like awesome events out here. But I like cracked up when she wrote that. It was so funny. Um, but I don't know. Like I can't really say.
So do you have moments in your life where you're like, okay, that really made a difference in my journey as a designer? Like maybe that would be a better way of wording it.
Yeah,
Although I
yeah.
love the way it was worded.
Me too. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I I have a lot of feelings and I've like been through a lot. So I
Mhm.
definitely think that that's been a huge part of my floral journey, even just my career and my life and the path that I took. Like I would not be here had I not gone through some of the things that I've gone through. So I
Right.
do think it was gradual and I'm sure it will continue to be because that's the journey we're all on. We're gonna keep growing. I always want to be growing. I never want to just get stuck.
Yeah.
So yeah, for sure. I do think that. I don't know about me being a floral goddess at all. That is the reach. I'm all right, but she's so funny.
I love it. I love it. Well, I love this one too. Someone says first, you're my floral spirit animal,
Oh,
and second, what did you do to set yourself apart and stand out from everyone else?
that's so sweet.
Yeah, you're like a spirit animal for people. I mean, really, this is. I love it.
So nice. Spirit animal. Um, I gosh, I think I think going back to kind of what I said earlier when we first started chatting about like even just keeping myself from creative burnout and keeping things
Right.
exciting and staying pumped on this job and floral and creative besides loving flowers so much and like never wanting to be away from them even when I am burnt out and tired and I still want to like arrange for myself. I would say for the standout question, I would go back to those comments about just being like true to yourself. Like I, I think that that's always been something I've tried to strive for,
Mhm.
and I think that it really plays into my floristry. And the idea of just being in competition with me and like challenging myself and wanting to learn and wanting to grow and try new things. So I think that is what I would suggest. And I can't really share any more than that because it really depends on like you and your heart and what you're drawn to. And, I would just say whatever that looks like try to innovate, like try to think outside of the box and do what you're excited about and not necessarily because everyone else is doing it or, just like try
Yeah.
something new.
Yeah, I think just you set yourself apart by just kind of being open to people and putting yourself out there and owning who you are, and people are going to fall in love with that. I think that's what sets you apart. I don't even necessarily think it's always about the flowers. It's because especially when you're working in weddings and events, obviously your design needs to be like lovely and they need to be attracted to that. But I think what closes those deals is you as a person.
Yeah, yeah, totally. And Shelly and I would talk about that a lot.
Yeah.
Like when I was working with her a ton, like all the time we would talk about that because that's really the standout. You're totally
Mhm.
right. It's like who you are and also like how you relate to your client.
Yeah.
And other people that may look up to you or, the interns you have or the people that work for you, like, all of that makes a difference. And I think the client also feels drawn to you as a person and what you put out there, as well as your work, for
Yeah.
sure.
Love
Yeah.
it. All
Yeah.
right. So we're gonna kind of round this out with some rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Do I
Okay.
do I have, like, a time frame? I have to be
I'm
like,
not gonna be like Ellen. No, we're gonna go.
"I love
First thing
Ellen."
that comes to your mind. I know, me too. I like in the middle of my day, like when I need like a brain break, I always try to watch like one video on Facebook so that way I can like laugh and be happy and then I go back to my not that I'm
Yeah.
not happy or anything, but it's just nice. It's a nice break.
Yeah, yeah. Yes, totally. I know what you mean.
Okay. What's your favorite color?
Uh, I wanna say blue, but are we talking about flowers?
In general.
Um, I guess I would still say blue. I really like blue. I think I've always liked blue.
Cool. What's your
Yeah.
favorite flower?
Whoa.
I
Heavy.
know.
That's a heavy
That's
question.
I know. It's not super rapid, but
I know. I'll try. Definitely garden rose. I think like across the board. I could use them in everything, and that would be
yeah,
fine. Yeah.
love it. Do you
Yeah.
drink coffee or tea?
Both.
Both.
It depends. I'm trying to wean myself off of coffee, but I'll still cheat every now and then, you know?
I love it.
Yeah.
Who do you admire most?
Um, oh my gosh, as a florist, like
In
just in general.
or it could be a florist, whoever pops to your mind first.
The first thing I thought of was my mom.
Yeah, love
Yeah,
it. Good.
yeah.
Are you a morning or a night person?
Morning, 100%. I was
I
up at 5 a.m., like ready to go for this. I was like, okay, it's time.
Yeah, that's good. I thought I don't know, I would have guessed you would be a night person for some reason.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know why.
I love the
Okay.
morning.
Yeah, me too. What is your favorite hobby?
Um, well, I'd say my hobby is flowering, but that's also my job.
Right.
Gardening for sure. I love being
Gardening?
in my garden. Yeah, yeah,
Ah,
yeah.
do you have a big garden? Like, what do you
I
garden?
wish.
Like, what do you plant
So
and grow?
I have 6 garden roses, 6 garden
Mhm.
rose bushes in my front yard, or 7, and they are like my pride and joy. Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's like all I live in the city, so I'm lucky that I have like a front yard area and a
Mhm.
backyard. And then we also have passion vines that are fruiting. So
Ah,
that's always really exciting. In the summer we eat them so much and that's really fun. Um, but even just like we have, I have leftover plants from events that we're gonna put in the backyard and stuff like that. I love it. It makes me so happy because it's like I don't know. This is so cheesy too, but it feels so like connected because there's the bees come and pollinate, the roses, and then there's like a huge spider that lives in one of my rose bushes, and I always say hi to it when I'm leaving for the day. It's always there.
have you named the spider?
We have not. We talked
Mm,
about it.
yeah.
But yeah, there's like some grasshoppers that were like totally eating them. And I was like, you guys, this isn't cool. Like there's
Right.
this whole life, there's this whole ecosystem that just our roses have like created. It's so cool. So I love being in the garden. Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
What's the strangest thing you've ever eaten?
Grasshoppers
Oh, yes.
in Mexico. Yeah.
Fun.
Oh, and
Uh,
worm salt. Worm salt.
worm salt?
Yeah.
Oh, I'll leave that there.
I didn't know what it was. We were at a market in Oaxaca, and I didn't know what it was, and they had this like little salt jar, and I was like, salt's like one of my all-time favorite things. So I was like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I'll try some salt. And there's obviously a language barrier. I do speak some Spanish. I live in Southern California. It would be like silly if I didn't. Oh, we have
Yeah.
a guest.
Little kitty.
But anyway, not enough, for that
Mhm.
scenario. And then the woman that was selling it, like shook this little jar and there were grubs, like grubby worms in there. And
Oh.
she was like, this is this. And I was like, oh, I've already eaten this. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, that happened. And then we just like moved on.
I love it.
It
I
just
love
tasted
it.
like salt. It was fine.
Fun. Good,
Yeah.
good to know. I'm glad
Yeah.
you tried it for all of us. Okay,
You're welcome.
what is one of your weird quirks? Do you have any?
Yeah, absolutely. So many. I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head. I have a little bit of OCD when I leave the house, probably because we have so many animals. So I always check all the burners. That's like definitely one of my weird quirks. And then I love sweeping. Like sweeping the studio is one of my favorite activities. And my girls like know, the girls on my team, and they'll always make fun of me and just be like, oh, don't sweep. Like she's gonna want to do it. Don't take that away from her. I love sweeping. It's so strange.
You
So
find your happy place there.
yeah, I do. It's just like
Clear your
it's
mind.
very cathartic. I don't know what it is.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I get it. What is your favorite song?
Um, Oh my goodness. Well, I can think of one that makes me really happy, and
Mhm.
well, 2, if that's okay, if I'm allowed to.
Yeah.
So one of them is, King Harvest, "Dancing in the Moonlight." Great
Okay.
song. Play it in the car, you'll be happy the rest of the day, I promise you. And the other one is, oh my gosh, "Rock Your Baby" by George McCrae. That's a great one too. Also really happy. Like, if you played those 2 in a row in the car, driving up to the market or wherever you're going, I bet you'll have a great day.
I love it.
Mhm.
Okay. I don't know. Are you a dog person or a cat person? Can
Well,
you pick?
I like my cats right next to me. I have 2 dogs. I have 2, like, pit bull mixes and then a cat
Mhm.
and a chicken. Oh, here he is. Come here. Say hi. This is
Alright.
Fox. He's huge. And then, the 2 dogs are really big, and we live in a small place, so I like all animals. I'm
All
really
animals.
yeah, this is my first time having a cat, and he's the coolest, so I love them all.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right, last one. What is success?
Oh, that's a
Mhm.
rapid fire one?
Yeah.
Jeez, okay. Man, I oh my gosh, that is so heavy. I feel like success is not made. I think it's something that you find within yourself. And I would say that it relates more to like your character and how you interact with others, how you carry yourself, the love that you put out in the world. I I feel like success is more made in like your relationships than like monetarily, you know? Like I don't
Yeah.
I think success is like how you make other people feel and like how you love yourself. Does that make sense?
Perfect.
Okay.
Yes. I think that's a great way. Is there anything that you wanna share with anyone, before we get closed and we move on with our day?
Yeah, well, I'm just so grateful to everyone that like wrote on Instagram and sent comments, and then everyone who's been watching. Like it's so fun to read all your comments on the side as we're like chatting about everything. And I just want to say thank you for your like support and uh, everyone's always so kind on social media and encouraging and yeah, I hope that if you get nothing else from like watching my work, I hope that you feel like good vibes and like good energy out to you. So thank you guys so much. I definitely feel it back from you, so I really appreciate it.
I love it. Thank you so much, Rachel, for coming on and joining us today and answering all of our crazy questions and amazing questions and deep and questions and you even had a marriage proposal. I didn't put that in there, but
I
someone
did.
asked if yeah, someone asked, "Will you
Oh
marry me?"
no, that's one of my
uh,
girlfriends. I love her.
yeah,
Yeah,
so it was so much fun. Thank
yeah.
you for everything that you do for the industry too. And I hope to have you on again sometime
Thank
soon.
you.
We'll have to
Yeah,
do some more.
thank you
All
so
right.
much. This is great. Thank you
Yeah.
guys.
Thanks, guys. And if you have more questions for our next show, keep on sending in. You can email me at marketing@mayesh.com or respond to one of the bazillion emails that I'm hoping you still have in your inbox. I hope you saved them all for me, right? Um, and then that's it. That's a wrap on today's show, guys. Happy Thanksgiving on behalf of our Mayesh team. Stay tuned for our next show. It'll be sometime in December with a new guest host. Super excited about that. And with that, I just wanted to wish everyone a rocking day. Take care. Thanks for joining us. Bye,
Bye,
guys. Now I have to find the end thing. All right, let's see. There we go. All right.
guys.
Bye.
Bye for real.
Bye bye.